equal rights for me, masks and subservience for thee. Joining us now with a reaction, author of Hillbilly Elegy and Ohio Senate candidate JD Vance. There was something so gross about this Met Gala. It just captured something so revolting about our elite. I had a visceral reaction to it. I'm dying to hear what you thought.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty disgusting, and I had a couple of thoughts, Steve. And the first is that you remember like 12 months ago when Trump would visit an open-air factory and wouldn't have a mask on, and the media would go totally insane, and yet this building has a mask mandate, and the media doesn't care when all these people don't have masks. So it first just reveals the hypocrisy of the mainstream press. But the second part of it is I've always worried that this COVID thing would eventually become an excuse to create two separate classes of American citizens. You see it with the vaccine mandates. If you've got the vaccine, you can do certain things. If you don't have the vaccine, you can't go to a grocery store. But here it was on full display. If you don't, if you're not part of the upper class, if you're not part of the wealthy, you have to wear a mask just like the underclass of 300 or 400 years ago. It reveals this weird way where the people who are enforcing these mandates and these requirements, they just don't care about the fact that they're treating their fellow citizens like dogs.
And exactly right. And you've got this kind of, they don't even realize how decadent it looks. Like, addressing tax the rich at a place, there's tax breaks for the institution. We're learning, it's been reported that the dressmaker is trying to avoid taxes and has massive debts and runs a sweatshop. I mean, just the hypocrisy of it all. And it just really united everyone. I saw Peggy Noonan described it in the Wall Street Journal as a freak show. And then Maureen Dowd in the New York Times today was basically saying it brought out the inner Robespierre in the whole country. Like, we want a revolution when we see these kinds of images.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the hypocrisy to me is the worst part of this, because AOC wears this dress that says tax the rich. Does AOC want to tax the Harvard University endowment? No, it pays 0% tax. Does AOC want to tax the Ford Foundation, the Gates Foundation? No. The Democrats always talk about taxing the rich, but when you actually drill down in the details, they just want to tax their enemies and reward their friends. That's what they did at this Met Gala. That's what they'll continue to do with public policy.
Well, that's exactly right. And I just think that, we've talked about this often. That's why this inversion is so interesting. You now have populist Republicans really representing working people. And as I've said before, the Democrats are turning into the party of the rich, white, and woke.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because I'm running for Senate, I do all these events all across the state of Ohio. You never see the leadership unmasked and the servants masked. You don't have servants at Republican GOP events. You have people, and people who come together because they care about the country. It's so interesting to see the difference between the Republican events I attend and these left-wing events that you see on TV where people are wearing masks and basically treated like second-class citizens if they're not part of the in crowd. It's really gross, but it's also very revealing about where we are as a political movement in this country.
Exactly. Well, I think we can all be very proud to be there, as we say at the top of the show every week, pro-worker, pro-family, pro-community, and pro-America. That's who we are. JD, thank you so much. Great to see you. We'll be right back after this.